Hey, good morning, Ken.
Hi, you guys. This is Amaya with Sumnu Marketing. How are you guys?
Hi, Maya. It's David.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I just bumped the email to Raven. Hey, is anybody on?
Yeah.
Good morning,
Like,
everyone. It's Andre Haynes.
Hi.
Andre.
How we doing?
Good. This is David with McCarran. How you doing, brother?
All right. No complaints.
Good. Good. Uh-oh.
So, good morning, guys. This is Raven. Shondell will be joining us shortly. He's transitioning from one meeting to another this morning, but we just asked to open the Zoom meeting room up so that you all can have a chance to get your sound and cameras functioning properly.
Okay. Sounds good, Raven. What the heck? So, Andre,
Good
how are
morning,
things?
this is
Oh,
Del- Good
I've,
morning,
I've,
this
uh,
is Denise.
good morning.
How are you all doing today?
All right.
good.
It
Ken will be
feels like
hopping on shortly as well.
Ooh. So, Andre, how are things at the Armed Forces Chamber?
you know what? They're good. We're still providing business support to the members, but
Good.
we've reduced that up to about say 30%, and we started doing a lot of community stuff. Opened up a mobile food pantry and
Oh,
started
wow.
getting different things like that to the members in the community at large because a lot of people they're priority ship it. A lot of people are survival mode.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. How are things at the airport? They should be quiet. Nobody's flying.
No, there people are flying, unfortunately. That's a good thing, to tell you the truth. Passenger traffic has increased a bit,
Okay.
which is good, but the hotels and everything, I'm like, oh my goodness. I hope we don't get to be like California.
Right. Right. I know I've been buying some good airline deals out there to travel like the middle of next year. I bought round trip tickets to New Jersey for $100.
What?
I bought
Wow.
some to Paris from LAX for like $200. I mean, hopefully everything will be normal and be better the middle of next year.
Right. Yeah, one good thing about it is that over here at the airport, a lot of people are wearing their masks when they're, of course, it's mandated, but when you see passengers wearing the mask, I'm like, okay, good. The word's out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think in the last 3 months, we probably the chamber we distributed a few thousand N95 respirators and masks to city of North Las Vegas, city of Mesquite, our members and people in the community. We held a press conference back in April on the coronavirus. We had different representatives from the state, local government, CDC, and places like that.
Okay.
I just learned yesterday there's an online course that John Hopkins offers. Um, Talks about everything from like when you go home, changing your clothes in the garage, leaving them there, and just a lot of different stuff. So I'm gonna take that real soon. I probably know directly and indirectly at least 2 dozen people that contracted the COVID and even allegedly passed away from it. It's just hard. I've talked to doctors and nurses at the hospitals here that I know,
Mm-hmm.
and they're telling me that a person could pass from a heart attack, but they're instructed to put COVID-19 because they receive more money from the government. So it's hard to know what the real numbers are.
Right. Wow. Yeah, my wife, she's in the medical field and she does her own regiment. She comes to the garage takes off her clothes by the washroom, puts them in the washing machine, goes take a shower and everything else. I'm like, wow, okay. That's a new norm for everybody, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the one of the good things that happened as a result of this is people are becoming cleaner and better at sanitization, which I think was needed. You know.
Yeah, you got to tell that to the other states, though.
Yeah. There are still 2 states, I don't remember their names, I saw it last night on CNN, but there are still 2 states, only 2 states where the masks are not mandatory. I want to say like Iowa or something like that. But it's kind of north.
Georgia doesn't mandate.
Okay.
Wow, I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I find interesting, and I'm not trying to play sideline quarterback, but when we did phase 1, the shutdown back in like February, March, if it were for me to do, I think it would have been easier for people to stomach if it were done in phases. If they said we're going to shut down the entire state of Nevada in 5 phases, we're going to do it over a course of 5 weeks. You know, each week, different zip codes or areas are going to shut down, and at the same time be working on the regular unemployment, not the PUA, but work to make sure that the department has all the staff and things they need to administer people's money, make sure the food banks are in place. And I think if and again, I don't know all the information, maybe that couldn't be done because of the urgency, but if something like that could have happened in that way with phases and stages, I think it would have been more palatable for people.
Yeah. Yep. Oh.
Did she deliberately send
it so your backpack? Okay, thanks. Oh, goodness.
They have to make it enable the video. Hey, David, Destiny just walked up. Say hi.
Hey, Destiny, how are you? Good, good. Andre, you don't have a video yet either, right? I can't even get on a video.
No, when I try the video thing, it tells me you cannot start your video because the host has stopped it.
That's right. That's right. Never mind.
I love this Zoom though. I started a podcast for the chamber, I think maybe a month ago, using the Zoom, and it's very nice.
Ooh.
Hello.
Who's
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Why?
Looking at somebody's screen. Somebody's sharing it.
I don't see anything.
It keeps muting me. Who keeps muting me?
I'm looking at Sumnu's marketing screen, the slideshow, PowerPoint.
Okay.
I don't have it.
Somebody keeps muting me, Ken. I thought I'm doing the moderating, right?
Yeah, you should be. I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay. Just making sure it don't mute me in the middle of.
Yeah, let me talk to
And my
Raven.
video won't. I don't need my video.
No, you should. Raven, are you the host?
I'm sorry, Amaya is the host.
Okay, so do I need to be on video, or am I just on audio?
We need we need to change it so we can see the videos, whoever the host is.
Yeah, tell Maya to allow us to, because my video, it won't allow me to select my video. The host disabled video. So Maya, you there?
Yes. Start.
So make sure you just allow us to see our video. It's only you only really have to have the video for the presenters.
Okay.
Because we're at 10 o'clock now.
Hi, this is Delisa.
Go ahead, Delisa.
Hold on.
Okay, we're working on some things, folks. We're
You
gonna get
should be
going
able
in a second.
to cut your video on and off now.
Should be good to go, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
can pretty much get started because it seems like we're allowing a few more people to get on. Mr. Evans, you all good?
Yes, sir.
Favor, how are you? Is Favor there? Mr. Haynes,
Morning, how we doing?
good to hear from you, my friend.
It's good. Good to be heard from.
David,
Yes, sir, Shondell. How are you, sir?
good to have you. Do we have Favor there? Yes.
Is this supposed to be a video?
Yeah, you can turn your video on now.
Yeah.
Can you hear
Well,
me?
we have.
It won't let me.
No, well, that's up to the host.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay.
Host.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, I can hear
We
you
can
now.
hear you.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we had everybody. I could hear everybody, who's on the panel. So what you can do, whoever is hosting, you can mute everybody else, but let the panelists be, let their mic be open. And panelists, when you, what I'd like for you to do is when everybody else is talking, please mute your microphone, and then when you're asked to talk, you could open up, you could unmute. Okay. Hello. Okay.
Yeah, we got it.
Let's start from the top. I know we have our PowerPoint presentation, so I can start from the top and talk about what this is all about. And what for our audience, I know we have quite a few people still probably chiming in, going from Zoom call to Zoom call. So I just wanted to welcome everyone to this session. And when we talk about Renaissance and we talk about a small business renaissance, can you pull up the slide, the title slide for me, please? There we go. Can we go back to the first slide? Okay, so for the small business renaissance and rebirthing your business is one of the things that we talked about for the Urban Chamber. We really have a lot of members who have serious questions about how do you bring your business back to fruition. There's a couple of things that I want to point out real quick, and I want this panel to discuss when we get the opportunity to dialogue. But I want people to understand when you talk about rebirthing or reestablishing your business, and in our case, in my world of Sumnu, we talk about rebranding. And when we talk about rebranding, we're not necessarily just talking about changing your logos and changing those things. Understand that every time, every decade, every moment, every period, there is a time when people have to adjust based on the market conditions, based on a pandemic, based on a world war. This is not the first time that this has happened. So a lot of people, when we're talking about rebirthing, we want you to look at history. We also want you to look at being inspired and being innovative, as opposed to sitting and wallowing in what is going on right now. There are a lot of reasons to be sad, but there are even more reasons to be excited. And a rebirth means that you are looking to move forward. You're looking to grow. You're looking to build. You're looking to not sit down and say, you know what, I'm going to be out of business because I didn't adjust to these market conditions, even if they're the most extreme conditions. Your innovation should kick in. Your entrepreneurial spirit should kick in. So we're gonna start with that, and then now I'm going to introduce the panelists. So give me the next slide, please. The panelists. I'm really excited to talk to this group. I talk to one guy just about every single day. So we sharpen each other every day. We kick each other every day. We're like, hey, look, don't get down. Now it's time for us to grow. So I want to introduce Ken Evans, the president of the Urban Chamber of Commerce. So Ken, can you say hi to everybody?
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here today.
Thank you very much. And then this is one of my favorites, the president of the African Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. And, I really get excited when I get to meet and enjoy people like her. Favor, can you say hello to everybody?
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
It's a pleasure to have you, and I'm really excited about things that you guys are doing. And you know, recently the chamber a few years ago had started off by saying we're going global, and we connected with the continent of Africa, and so it's really excited to have the African chamber. So everybody, because everybody at first was saying, well, why are we having an African chamber and an African American chamber? We're like, well, don't we need both, right? So understand that we work together, we collaborate. I know Joe Cato is extremely active in many cases, one of our board members. And then here's another guy that I met. I really got excited when I met his family. You know, he's doing some dynamic things, also doing some things with the SBA, talking about veterans and getting involved in small business. Andre Haynes, the founder and president of the Armed Forces Chamber. Welcome, Andre.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to participate.
Awesome. Awesome. Good to have you, man. How's the family?
Everybody's good and healthy and in good spirits.
Good deal. Good deal. Now, here's another veteran. All right. We're gonna hit this guy up right here. You know, David, Andre's not a veteran. I know Andre helps veterans, but I was going to say David, and along with me and Ken are veterans of the military. Those two guys are retired. I didn't want to take that journey. I decided to go make money. So David Eclipse, the DBE liaison officer with Cairn International Airport. Hey, David.
Hey, good morning, Shandell. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm glad to have you. So we're gonna dive in a little bit here, but first I think we're gonna talk about a disparity study because I want to give you guys kind of a little bit of a dialogue to talk about. I know, David, you've done disparity studies with McCarran many times. We've had other disparity studies done, but I want to give kind of the audience here an opportunity to understand what a disparity studies is and also how this frames into what we're doing right now. Because there's a lot of talk about the civil unrest, but nobody's really talking about where this all comes from. It actually starts with a lot of these disparities. So if you could bring up who's ever operating this system, please bring up the disparity study so I can dive right into that. And I'm going to tell you guys one of the issues that we have right now while they're bringing that up is there are a lot of challenges that are happening that we're discovering through this pandemic. We're really seeing a lot of disparities, and I just want to put one out there real quick so people can understand. We got a study where we understand that 3.3 million small businesses have gone out of business since COVID-19, since the pandemic, since we were forced to shut down. 3.3 million small businesses out of the 30 million, which is more than 10%. So understand that small businesses are permanently out of business, 10% of those in this country right now. Now, out of those 10%, 40% are Black owned, which is over half of the Black owned businesses have gone out of business in the last 90 days. And 32% are Hispanic. So these minority businesses are already going out of business. We're going to get some other numbers to understand all of the diverse categories, but those two are daunting numbers and daunting statistics. So this is one of the reasons why we always talk about this diversity study. So I want to share this information with you. This diversity study by the Nevada Department of Transportation is led by Colette Holton Associates. They are they won the contract to perform the study this go around. We're going to be going around, and I'm going to explain what we'll be doing here in a minute. We'll be going around asking people questions because we want to understand those disparities and want you to be very honest and give us information. So it's in partnership with Sumnu Marketing, Erica Villas Consulting, and Deborah Campbell and Associates. Next slide. So here's what we're doing with the disparity study. The research objective is to provide current evidence regarding the utilization and availability of DBEs. So we're trying to make sure that we can see how are the prime contractors and how are the project owners utilizing our disadvantaged business enterprises. And we're evaluating the operations of NDOT's DBE program. And then the quantitative process is to collect and analyze NDOT's contract data, determine DBE availability, and examine the Nevada market area economy, which has changed even since we got this contract. And then we're going to talk about the qualitative process. That's where Sumnu comes in. That's where Erica Villas and that's where Deborah Campbell come in. We're going to talk about some of the research objectives, provide current evidence regarding the utilization and availability. The qualitative, we're going to collect anecdotal data from stakeholder organizations, business owners through interviews, written comments, and an electronic survey. So we're going to be doing that, looking at what you guys, some of you guys are stakeholder organizations. Okay, so the anecdotal evidence will help NDOT to decide, is a program still necessary? What annual overall goals, what should be included in the program? What annual overall goals should be set? How should contract goals be set? What program elements work? What needs improvement? How to make best changes to ensure everyone has full and fair opportunities to compete. All of this will be done during that anecdotal part of the study. And then business owner participation in the qualitative process is very, very critical. And then we're going to talk about how to participate. Small group business owner sessions we'll have right around the week of September 20th. We'll do an electronic survey, business owners tentatively scheduled for October 2020. Written comments will be accepted throughout the process to study the email or the website. And then the disparity study contact information, we'll share this presentation with you. The website will be ndot.disparity-study.com. And the study email is ndot-study@mbelaw.com. And then the study telephone is 855-692-3529 or 855-MWBE-LAW. So we'll have that information out to you as well. So with that, that's what we're going to do as far as the disparity study. And what I'd like to do at this time is really have each one of the panelists, and let's start with David Eclipse, and let's talk a little bit about how do you feel about diversity studies and why do you think they're important?
Thanks, Shondell. Knowing that how McCarran did their disparity study, it opened my eyes to see a lot of pitfalls that took place. I was surprised to see not a lot of African-American companies, not a lot of women-owned companies had that great or participation in these upcoming contracts. There was a big skew of what type of businesses were getting to be the prime contracts. You have your usual local businesses that were big enough, but you also had the subcontractors, the underground workers, the piping, the electricians, the landscapers. They were all they're all available here, but people don't understand that it's hard to grasp, Shondell, because I get so frustrated sometimes and so passionate because these folks here are the backbone of businesses and construction. And if they don't be utilized properly, they're going to be out of money. They're not going to have any work. They're going to close their business like what's happening now.
Yeah, good deal. Thank you. And you know what? You're right, because I think the foundation is a key to all of this, is having a solid foundation. So just like you're talking about, when we talk about rebirth, you can't be reborn from ashes. You got to be reborn from a solid foundation.
Exactly.
Yep. Ken Evans, why don't you chime in and tell me, because you've been following these studies for many years. What are your thoughts about it?
My thoughts is, I want to build on what David just pointed out. It is imperative that we create procurement opportunities and business opportunities and level the playing field out, if you will, when it comes to creating these opportunities. For example, right now we're dealing with COVID. What I'm happy to say is we have several success stories of our members and beyond getting Paycheck Protection Program or PPP funds, as well as the Economic Injury Disaster Loan or EIDL funds. But as a couple of them have said, while they appreciate getting the financial assistance in the short term, in the long term, they need contracts such that they can, A, use those funds, and B, in the case of the idle funds, be in a position to repay those idle loan funds over the course of time. So I can't overemphasize the importance of making sure that opportunities are there for our small, diverse business owners.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anyone else want to tag in? I wanted to give everybody a chance to talk about this this study at first. How about we anybody else want to chime in on that?
Yeah, this is Favor, and
Thank you.
for us, the African community, honestly speaking, we are like the new kid in the block, and this is new to us. I say this is new to us in the term that we're not used to looking for where we're going to get it from. We try to create something for ourselves, and fortunately for most of our members, they are in the health sector at this time, and though they have the decrease in business, but they're still busy. They're still in business, and we count that as a blessing for us at this time. But we are also looking for avenues where we can get more opportunities to fund our businesses and keep it afloat. You know, and we're always being overlooked in the community, but we're not complaining. You know, we just keep trying to forge ahead and do what we can do. But we're fortunate, honestly, that we still have our doors open. A lot of people are struggling, but we are still able to pay our bills, and we just think it's a blessing at this time.
Oh, that's good. Thank you, Favor, for that. Thank you so much.
I'd like to chime in if possible, Shondell.
Yeah, please, Andre.
I agree with all the comments that have been made so far. One of my personal favorite things about disparity studies is it gives a business owner, if they have not started the business yet, and even if they have, but it gives you the opportunity to really reverse engineer your business. I know myself, being a business owner and entrepreneur, I like businesses I've started, I like to first identify the need. Find out what the need is, find out how that need needs to be delivered so that it's acceptable and it can be fully realized from the end user, the receiver, and then provide that the supply for the demand. And so right now with our current state of government mandated shutdowns due to COVID-19, social distancing, et cetera, it gives all of us the ability to look at our customer, our client base, and to say what services have we been providing? Are those services still necessary and or relevant? Is there a better or a safer way to provide those services while at the same time being able to investigate if there's a way to do it without increasing cost?
Yes, yes. So, you know, and this whole thing is about, because everybody, you know, uses, and thank you for that, Andre, because everybody uses diversity and inclusion, in my opinion, as a catchphrase. And they just say, you know, I have a diversity program, or I have an inclusion program. And thank you, Favor, for at making sure that you outline the fact that we typically don't get deep into the African community. Sumnu Marketing did a study out in Washington State where we were really actively engaged with African youth, which I want to make sure that as I make this point, that Raven makes sure that she connects with you on this study thoroughly. And so I want you guys to give me some thoughts on this. In what ways is your organization committed to improving diversity and inclusion in Nevada? Let me put this out there. Major League Baseball has increased its revenues exponentially by practicing diversity and inclusion, which is, you know, one reason why I will say, and I probably get in trouble for saying this, but that's the reason why they all of a sudden decided to celebrate a Jackie Robinson Day, because now it's making them money, right? I get that everybody feels like, oh yeah, we want to be nostalgic, but really that's what the point was. The NBA, Charles Barkley talked about the fact that the salaries in the NBA really grew big time once they took that trip overseas and it became an international game. And so diversity is bigger, and I guess the question for you guys is not only how are you improving or you committed to diversity and inclusion, but how are you connecting the dots to economic development? So let's start, how about this time, let's start with you, Andre, and then go to Favor.
One of the things that we're doing at the Armed Forces Chamber is we're regularly conducting or sharing internal surveys amongst our members to ask them to be honest, to share what their needs are, their strengths, their weaknesses. And then as a chamber, we're taking that information and we're looking at our overall business plan and our standard operating procedure as far as providing business support to the members. And so we're using that information to see, do they want more? Do they want something different? Do we need to revise or change how we're giving this information? The great thing I think with any group, whether it's a group with 2 people or 2 million people, if you just have regular, honest conversations with the people you serve, they're going to tell you exactly what they need, and their needs are going to represent the rest of the community that is not yet a part of your group. And as long as you're flexible and you're willing to incorporate some things within reason, you can meet those needs. My personal concept for businesses I've had, even if I'm the person who founded or started a business, if I listen to my employees, if I listen to my clients, in 5 years, the business should not look like me. It should look like the contributions and the suggestions that everyone has shared with me. And it's my job to adapt to that because my job is to service them.
Absolutely. Thank you. Favor?
Yeah. Like I always point out to people, the typical African has a different mentality, right? In the sense that they tend to build around themselves first. They don't like to express their challenges or their problems because they think that makes them weak. But we as a chamber, we've been reaching out to our members individually because we like to have that relationship to know exactly the challenges or whatever situation that business is going through at that particular point in time, because we believe at this time we're all facing the same thing. We all have the same common challenge right now with the pandemic. So with our members, we try to share all the resources that we can get in the community. Whatever we get, we share with everybody. And we encourage them, do your research, reach out to people. No man is an island. Try to communicate, step out of your comfort zone. That is what makes you a better person, because the more knowledgeable you are about something, empowers you more to do better at what you're doing. So we try to not to dwell on what will weigh us down at this time. We encourage them to try to get more knowledge, get more people you talk to, share ideas, and look for the best way to grow your business. Now is all about re-strategizing. And the best way to start is by building relationships. So that is what we do with them. We build a relationship first and encourage them to do the same thing with people that they do business with.
Wow, Favor, you know what? You just made my day. You just really made my day. And I'm gonna tell you 2 things that you really made my day with. And so, you talk about you talk about the African culture and you talk about where that comes from. And so again, it goes back to not only, people need to understand that the African culture and the African American culture is very similar. A lot of people don't know how to go way back deep. So one thing that is really bad about us is suffering in silence, right? You said that, right? You said that in so many different ways. Don't suffer in silence. Talk to other people. Talk to these organizations. That's why they exist. I told Ken when this pandemic first started, I said, This is where all the chambers and all these organizations are going to put their money where their mouth is. This is where they're going to step up and they're going to help these businesses. And this is where they're going to prove their real worth. We don't prove our worth through breakfasts and luncheons and things like that.
Exactly.
This is where we prove our worth. The other thing, Favor, I'm going to make sure I get a video, you girl. You're going to do me a favor. We're going to talk about relationships, because we already have great testimonials from some of our members who have already talked about the fact that they planted seeds 3 years ago, and those seeds are bearing fruit today. So 2 things that you said that are very critical, and I want everybody on this call to pay attention to as you're talking about rebirth. 1, don't suffer in silence. Do your research. Talk to people who can help you out. Get your resources. Number 2, make sure you focus on relationships first. Don't go in and don't make your problem other people's problem. Don't make them say, I need to pay my bill, so you need to give me a contract. Focus on the relationship and make it build. What do you think of that, David?
You saw me giggle. You hit it right on the head, Shondell. I need a contract. No, that's not the case. One thing that I'm notorious for, and you all know, is that I always e-blast a lot of things out. If it pertains to you or if it doesn't pertain to you. Like Favor was saying, relationships, build relationships. Like you said, Shondell, you got to let us know how we can help you. If we don't know how to connect the dots for you. That's why we're here. And so the e-blast thing that I give out from NGEM to everybody else, I hope that helps people. And if companies reach out to me and say, hey, David, I'm needing assistance, maybe in electrical, or I do underground work, I can connect them with the GCs.
Yeah.
And have them pollinate.
How do they get on NGEM, David?
Oh, if you need to get down to NGEM, all you got to Google is NGEM. NGEM stands for the Nevada Government E-Marketplace. That's where all 24 agencies within the city put up their bid opportunities. And once you register with your NICS codes, the NICS codes are your 6-digit code that your business is associated with. And you get that alert and notification, hey, there's an upcoming bid opportunity. So yeah.
Love it. Hey, Ken, you heard all of this. What's your, I know you got something to say, so go ahead. I know I can see Ken going, you know, guys, you gotta know Ken, he's ready, boy. Come on, Ken, let's go.
I can't add, but the reason why I was smiling is because, man, they hit all the key points. Don't suffer in silence and build real relationships. And the thing I'll add to that is I suggest to people, build relationships before you need them. So what I'm hoping is that you have relationships that were in place before COVID-19 hit, before the economy stalled, before we had some of the local unrest. I'm really hoping that you had existing relationships that you can now leverage to not only get through the immediate response or the first few months, but over the next 12 to 18 months of recovery. And to that end, what I'd like to add that many of them mentioned is that in order to do that, you need to have capability and capacity. And I think that's what we attempt to help with here at the Urban Chamber. We have a great resource network with resource partners like SCORE, Nevada Small Business Development Center, the Women's Small Business Development Center. We also have some alternative lenders. For example, with the PPP that's going on, that deadline has been extended through August the 8th. Well, it's great to know that we have some community development financial institutions like Prestamos, Dream Spring, and Clearinghouse CDFI that can administer those PPP funds. So the bottom line is we're attempting to be a resource hub by leveraging our resource network, but we can't do that if you suffer in silence. So please let us know what's going on. And what I anticipate is before the end of the month, we'll be doing some type of forum similar to this, where we want our business owners to tell us what their pain points are, and then we're going to try to give them some options to move forward.
Well, I think, you know, great points, Ken, and thank you for everybody chiming in, because I'm going to change the direction. You guys know me, I freestyle a lot. I know my staff put some notes here, but here's what I want to talk about is, and David touched on this, is number one, you got to do a lot. You got to do a lot of research. You have to get out there and understand what it is that you have to align with. And I saw a note just come through, and Delisa probably could read that later, but NDOT is not a part of NGIM, so we'll give some information for NDOT here shortly. But I just want to make sure that we all understand something, is that when we talk about research and we talk about bid opportunities, we talk about going out and finding business, the main thing that most small businesses have to understand is, who are you, right? That you start off with, and I'm gonna put a quick plug for my book. My book says, understanding your DNA. Know your DNA of your company. Because if you don't know your DNA, you don't know what you're researching. So what do you guys, what advice would you give these guys to understanding their niche, understanding how their niche will connect with the market? What advice would you give to folks on this call? If they're gonna make a rebirth, they have to know who they are and they have to know who they're going after. Anybody want to chime in? Just go for it.
I'll jump in. This is Andre. I'm going to piggyback off of what Ken said, and he didn't use the exact words. He said vision, but what he had said is you have to make contacts or make relationships before you anticipate needing them or using them. And so what I think has to happen as a business right now, you got to look at the needs of the people July 16, 2020, and that may be totally different than the needs that you have listed in your original business plan or the needs that you currently meet with your customers. And you've got to be able to forecast, like Ken said, have vision, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. What are these needs going to be? And can we add them to our current needs? Can we supplement, or do we need to totally change the needs that we're meeting by the services we provide so that you can stay relevant and so that you can either A, have another stream of income, or this stream of income can supplement the one that's currently being reduced?
Great. Thank you, Andre. Anybody else want to chime in? Go ahead, David.
Yeah, Andre hit it right on the head. It's like, and you both of you were saying it, think out of the box. You have to. So I'll give you a case in point real quick. I met a lady that does expansion joints. All she did was expansion joints, but once COVID hit, her request for her materials died out. So what did she do? She thought out of the box. She started making face shields for the first responders. She started making some type of material that will help seal devices to make it airtight. That's the stuff that businesses, like you were saying, Chandel, have to do. They have to think to themselves, okay, I have a primary, but what's my fallback or secondary plan that I can use?
Yeah, definitely. Good one. Favor, do you have anything to add to that?
Oh, yes, definitely. I always tell people that in every crisis, some people are bound to come out millionaires while some people stay broke. Reason being that when a crisis is going on, a smart business person needs to look at the opportunities that are presented. Like David rightly said, the woman that started making out the face shield, the face mask, that is the opportunity that the pandemic created for us. People are changing the way they do businesses right now. People are doing a lot of online business because the world is changing. It's a global village right now. You can sell products from any part of the world to anyone around the world. That is the way the world is right now. The pandemic has proved to us that we live in a global village. You know, the distance is not as far as it used to be anymore because of the internet. You know, so we all need to cash in on it right now. What can you do to reach out people outside of the state of Nevada, outside the US, outside Africa? What can you do? Everything starts from your brain. So when you think outside the box and utilize the opportunities that are presented in front of you, you won't be wallowing in self-pity at the end of the crisis.
No, I think that's great. Ken, do you want to add into that?
Yes, I did. And what I'm about to say builds on the concept of leveraging existing relationships. One of the things we've been doing at the Urban Chamber is we have an ongoing relationship with the Governor's Office of Economic Development that started under the previous administration. The reason why that was important is because that allowed us to focus on domestic areas, whether it was for interstate commerce or whether it was to export, because the second thing that we focused on was building a relationship with the International Trade Division. The reason why both of these are important is because we know that the state of Nevada wants to diversify and eventually expand its economy. And that's because right now, 40 to 45% of our economy is hospitality and tourism based. That's not a good position to be in. And we saw that after the 2001 events, as well as the more recent 2008 events. Well, definitely COVID-19 has once again pointed out we need to expand and diversify our economy. So by making sure that we have a relationship with GoEd, we can focus on the domestic opportunities as well as the international opportunities that will allow us to expand and diversify our economy. And when we do that and leverage those relationships, we create what I call interdependency, which means if our businesses are in the markets and the sectors where the economy is going to diversify and better yet expand, there's a higher probability of success for our businesses that are in that space.
Great comments, Ken. And I want to take something. I want this, whoever's on this call, whoever's listening or watching, I want you to take notes and please pay attention to what we're talking about. And we're talking about a rebirth and a renaissance, because what you have to think about is a couple of things that these guys talked about. David talked about the person who had to adjust. And what I say is, don't think outside the box. Don't even create a box. Everything, when it comes, anything and everything can be done. And I want to share this because I think that most people think like automobiles, for example. The mass production of automobiles was fought by this country. Many people didn't want it to happen. Like everybody thinks Henry Ford just came up and with this idea and everybody embraced it and ran away with it. Well, a lot of people didn't want that movement to happen. They wanted to block it. Why did they want to block it? Because they wanted to keep things the way they were. It is not easy to make change. It's not easy adjusting to change. And what David was talking about, actually, that person rebranded their company in this time. Everybody thinks rebrand is a logo. Everybody thinks rebrand is changing your website. They rebranded their company for the purpose that exists today. And so that's why I want people to understand that that's how entrepreneurs work. And then leveraging your relationships. Andre talked about that, leveraging those relationships, building those relationships before you need them. Nobody wants to come in a relationship of crisis. That's just kind of a one night stand. It's like, hey, I need something right now. Let's get it on and let's move on. Nobody wants a one night stand. Everybody wants a relationship that will move you forward. So while you're thinking in this pandemic, I know you're in crisis mode. I know you got to pay your bills. I know you got to get some funding, but you still have to think about the long term. You have to think about how you're going to build those relationships, those relationships to help you move forward. And then the other thing I heard about is interdependency, which is great. Diversifying the economy. Again, I gave those examples of Major League Baseball and the NBA. If they did not diversify their economy, they would be dying on the vine right now. And guess what? The NFL is trying to get there. That's why they be trying to do NFL Europe and get overseas. A kid like Patrick Mahomes couldn't get a $500 million contract without moving toward that space. And now the music industry, the entertainment industry, everybody's figuring out that this diversity thing works. Being diverse means everything. And Favor, I've talked about this, and I think it's still true. Africa is one of the most diverse continents on the earth, or is the most diverse continent on earth. Can you talk about why that's important?
Yeah, Africa has 54 countries in the continent. And I take Nigeria, for instance, because I'm from Nigeria originally. And in Nigeria, we have over 220 ethnic groups. So that speaks a big volume of diversity right there. Every region is different from the other one, And like in my country, we have 3 major ethnic groups: the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Hausas. they are regarded as the major ones because they are more influential, more significant, you know, in the country. We also have the minorities, but these three groups stands out. These three ethnicities, they stand out more in the country because they are more involved in politics, in manufacturing, and in commerce. So that's the way they spread them out. So when it comes to Nigerians or Africans that live in the United States, we face the same thing. We're dealing with different cultures, adapting to a new culture and trying to merge both of them to now define where you want to be and how you can transition from your original ideas into a new idea that is being presented to you, and how you can, you know, merge both to succeed at whatever you're doing. Honestly speaking, it's very, very challenging for us when we come here. We don't get, it's not as easy as people make it sound that, oh, they just come, they do this. No, no, no. We come here, we start from the grassroots. We go to school first so we can understand the culture where we are. And one thing we've learned, when you come here, they tell you, oh, you have to go into healthcare or you have to become a teacher. These two, most of the time, you know, or you start your own business. That's it. If you're not into healthcare as a nurse or a pharmacist or a doctor, you have to just do something within the healthcare that guarantees you a job if you want to work. Or you go set up your store and do business. So most of us who are not able to do the 9 to 5, we end up setting up our own businesses. And you don't just go get a store, set it up. You work. A lot of people keep their jobs and they're busy building a business on the side. Then at the end of the day, you have to let go of one for sure, just to make sure you succeed at what you're doing. That's why a lot of Africans that are here, primarily Nigerians, I speak more Nigerians because I'm Nigerian, right? And I know what they do. So a lot of Nigerians in the community have their own businesses, mostly in healthcare, mostly, some have pharmacies, some have clinics, some have, just name it. A lot of them are just doing their own thing because they believe that's how they stay away from drama and they stay self-sufficient and relevant in the community. Now, the interesting part when we talk about diversity is this. In a typical Nigerian employer business, when you go in and look at the employees, you see Asians, you see Caucasians, you see African Americans, you see the Spanish. I always tell people that African employers are more diversified in hiring than any other minority employer you can think about. And that is a fact. So we do this, why? Because we believe, like I said, knowledge is power. I learn what makes the Asian person better. You know, they are very thorough in this angle, you put them there. You look for the strength of each person and you apply them into your business. That is what makes the business to grow. So that is why we are big on diversity. Most of our members are like that. You know, we believe in not just sticking to what you know, but trying to make it better by doing what I said it earlier, creating the relationship with other people. So we apply what we say to them. We don't just like to do the talk, but we want it to be implemented in our actions. And that is seen in our businesses.
I love it. I think you summed it up real well. I think now it's kind of time for us to do some Q&A. I know you guys have had great dialogue, and I see in the chat box there's a lot going on. I don't know if we're who's fielding the questions in the chat box. I see people going back and forth. if we, right now, I'm going to ask the panelists, we're going to ask them to look at that opportunity to answer some of those questions. So I don't know, Ken, if are you in the chat box at all? Are there any questions
Yes,
there
I
that you can
am.
see?
Yes, I am. I've been watching the chat box, and I know AJ
And I saw
asked,
there's a lot of questions.
yeah, AJ asked a question about the Paycheck Protection Program or PPP funds. What I offered up is that we'll make sure that we list the Community Development Financial Institutions, or CDFIs, that are currently processing PPP funds. And one thing I want to quickly say is there was $60 billion specifically targeted to small, diverse businesses, especially, for example, African-American owned businesses and the most recent act. And those funds are administered specifically through CDFIs. So we'll make sure that we get that information out there. I also noticed that Jeremy McVitie from DreamSpring already chimed in as well. So thank you for that. In addition to that, Christy Eccles talked about the importance of certification. We tell people at the Urban Chamber, first and foremost, make sure that you are professionally and technically competent and good with your product and service, but at the same time, seek certifications, especially third-party certifications, because that will enhance your profile and substantiate to people, number one, you are who you say you are, but then at the same time, a lot of times in order to get the certification, they also look at your capacity and capability to provide your product and service. So another great point there as well.
So as you mentioned that certification, I want to go to David and ask David, what do you tell people when they say, you know, I need to be certified? What is my reason to be certified? Can you kind of tell them why that's important?
Oh yeah, certification helps no matter what. Some folks ask me, hey David, so I'm trying to get this certification for my business, never been doing that before. I tell them, number one, the DBE certification is free. Okay, that's a given. Okay, and then I tell them you need the certification in the event there's a contract that is specifically that looks for a goal. Okay, now I've had this, Shondell, happen to me. They're like, hey David, got a contract, got it coming up. I need to get DBE certified within 30 days. No, that's not going to happen.
Right.
But you know, certification is good to have. There's a lot of alphabet soups out there: DBE, SBE, MBE, WBE. Okay, got it. The company needs to know where their focus is, like you were saying, and what certification is good for them. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, the certification, the DBE is a federal certification, as folks know, and it's geared towards federal, state, and even sometimes county contracts, because there's a goal set aside for certain types of work, piping, underground, trucking, hauling, drywall, framing. It depends.
Yeah. You know, and Christy, I know Christy's on the line. So Christy Eccles is a good resource to help you understand why it's important for you, what type of certification you may need, what type of certifications you may want, based on your goals. Again, it's not just checking every box. It's just making sure it fits within your business, where your business is. Go ahead, David, and then Andre.
One more thing, Andre, Shondell, one thing that I saw in the chat box, I saw Marcel chime in, of course, Jeremy chime in, Christy chime in. See, folks that are on this webinar, these are your resources that you need to go to. We are here for you.
Yep.
Okay? Just utilize us. I had to say that.
Yeah, no, Marcel and the roadmap. And remember, Marcel hosts a radio show with us called First Commerce on the first Monday of every month on KCP Power 88. And he talks about all those different resources. So if you chime into KCP, if you get the newsletters from the chamber, if you get on NGEM, or if you get any newsletters from NDOT, all those things are extremely helpful to help you get to those different resources. So I say this all the time. There's no excuse for you not having information, because the information is readily available. Go ahead, Andre.
I was going to say, I agree with what everyone is saying. And in regards to the PPP, one of the things I've seen with some of the members of the Armed Forces Chamber it's important to get the certifications, have a business plan, use QuickBooks, a lot of things that some people like to not use or go around or take the shortcut. When it comes time to get that certification or get the contract or get the PPP, this is what the entities are looking for. And so, yes, a lot of money is available, but unfortunately, a lot of people have been taking shortcuts and they haven't appreciated the process of doing a lot of different things like we're describing. And so when they're in front of a banker, an angel investor, whomever that may be, now it's a competition. So they're not as qualified as the competition. So now they're being denied the funds, the contracts, and the different things it is they need. So it's always better, no matter what stage you're in your business, dot your I's, cross your T's, get the certifications, use different software, because you never know when something is going to happen like the COVID, and you're now going to the SBA or you're going to the bank for a PPP or EIDL loans, and they're saying, okay, did you dot your I's and cross your T's? You say no, and guess what? It's too late.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because I have in my office, everybody wonders why I have these P's sitting up in my office. It's a very small little plaque, but basically I got this from a mentor of mine years ago when I worked at Station Casino. Planning prevents piss poor performance. And you know what? That might not even be politically correct, but I'm gonna say it again, because I feel like small businesses, if you're going to rebirth, if you're going to rebound, if you're going to renaissance, you have to think about this. Planning prevents piss poor performance. And I know there's a P I'm missing. I'll remember that one, but there's one I'm missing. But what that means is what Andre just said. We have a notebook in our office that is this thick, and it has everything we need if we have to submit awards, if we have to submit for certification, if we have to go in for a bid. All we have to do is go to that notebook. When I first started my business, I made sure I had every document that was needed in order to respond to any question somebody might have. And then you don't have to search for stuff. But that also goes in preparation of telling your story. What I keep saying, yeah, there you go, Ted. Ted knows. Ted has heard me say it, poor planning, right? Piss poor planning, right? So I can tell you what it is that it really is frustrating when people, when you go to a graphic designer and you got to sit down now and tell them all this stuff, but you have no clue how your company started, the history. You can't talk about your services. You can't do any of those things. It's because we have very poor planning. Do those things before you sit down with a graphic designer, before you sit down with, this is what is my biggest frustration. And Ken has heard me go on this rant many times. People are less prepared, and then they're frustrated because you can't deliver what they need, because they can't tell you what they actually have. So that is a great point that you made, Andre. Great point. Anybody, we're gonna be winding up real soon. Any lasting advice to this group? Each one of you, if you could take a minute to give a lasting point to this group. And is Ken still on? I think Ken just left or something. I thought it said Ken left. Andre, why don't you give that 1 minute piece of advice?
Okay, thank you. You know what? A business is a relationship. And in order to have a successful relationship, you first have to spend time with yourself. You have to get to know who you are, what you like, what you don't like, your strengths, your weaknesses. So this way, when you look for that person to be in a relationship with, you can at least tell them what you bring to the table. And once they tell you what they bring to the table, you know whether or not they can complement your weaknesses and make you stronger. A lot to business owners out there, entrepreneurs, people who are thinking of starting a business, spend time with your business. Before you open up your doors, before you cold call somebody, before you advertise to get a new customer, spend time with your business. Learn about it so that when you do have the opportunity to talk to David Eclipse, who could get you a business certification, or to talk to someone from a bank who could get you a PPP loan, or even before you come to a chamber, someone like Ken Evans or Shondell, and say, this is what I need, you know exactly what it is you need, and you can talk very specific as to who you are and who you're looking for.
Perfect. Favor.
Yeah, I have to agree with Andre. Honestly, I always tell people exactly the same thing. Before you embark on something, make sure you're prepared for it. Do the
Perfect.
needful. If you need to take training, certifications, whatever, but be a master of your business. Know your business before you open your
I-
doors. When you know your business, when you start to hire, you already have your policies and your procedures in place, and you make sure it's adhered to strictly by the people you have on staff. When you have that discipline with your own business, you're able to help somebody else grow their own. You can never give what you do not have. So everything starts from you. If you want
Nice.
to succeed, and you want other people to succeed, you must be a success story yourself. That's what I
Great.
always tell people.
Great advice. Awesome. And I see Christy said, be the master. I love that. I love that you said that, Favor, because everybody's chiming in saying great advice. David, you tell us what you think.
I have 3 things, Shondell. Number 1, seek out the certifications for your business no matter what. Okay, it's good to have them at the ready and ready to go. 2, when you are ready to meet with these contracts or these primes, have your capability statement, or if you go to an outreach event, have your capability statement ready to go. Okay, that falls back on what Andre was saying about know your business. And 3, use your resources. We are here. There you go.
Perfect. Great. I think Ken left. He might have to go to another meeting. And at the end of the day, I want you guys to understand why we even started with the disparity study, because I want you, one, to do me a favor. Everybody that's on the call, please complete the post-event survey. And I want you to understand why it's so important for diverse businesses to participate and sign up for these small business meetings for NDOT disparity study, because you're going to be now giving information back to NDOT, back to this disparity study, which I'm sure they're going to share with everybody here. And that will help us to not have you suffer in silence. If you respond to this disparity study, you get out there and you talk about what it is that your challenges, be honest. Don't give us any fluff. Tell us the facts of what is going on with your business, and we can help all of your businesses to grow, develop, and really, really, flourish through a pandemic or any type of storm. And I want you to think about all of these resources that exist. Set up meetings with them, talk to them. If they work for you, join them. If they don't work for you, that's fine. But make sure that you talk to Andre, Favor, talk to David, talk to Ken. Make sure you get that opportunity. Talk to the people that they mentioned on there with DreamSpring, with NDOT DBE, with Pauletta and Christy and all those folks over at NDOT, Terry, all those different people and Sonny. So I want you guys to think about, if you don't know those names, then you need to get to know those names, because that's real important. So this whole thing about the rebirth and the renaissance is designed to help you guys as small business owners to come out of this pandemic and come out of this storm, not just surviving, but thriving. That's what we're trying to get you to do. So Raven or somebody, if you could tell me when is the next one, so we could give them some heads up, because I know we got a series and I'm probably missing it here. Oh, I think it's actually, I see it. It's Thursday, July 30th will be another session for this Renaissance for small businesses. So make sure that you mark your calendars and make sure that you get involved, but make sure that you go to our post-event survey so we can get some information from you. Thank you again to my panelists. Thank you so much, Andre, Favor, David, Ken. You guys have been phenomenal on this Zoom call. Thank you again. Appreciate you guys.